My girlfriend pulled me aside before the annual board reception. "Stay quiet tonight, these people matter." I nodded and stepped back. When the guest of honor arrived, she didn't even glance at my girlfriend. She walked straight toward me, paused for a second, and said something that shifted the entire room. "I'm 35, been with my girlfriend for 4 years. We met through mutual friends at a charity fundraiser where she was working the room like a pro, and I was there because my buddy dragged me along. She's in corporate law at one of those big downtown firms where everyone wears $1,000 suits and talks about billable hours. I do graphic design, freelance mostly, which means I work from home in sweatpants and answer to no one but my clients." The first year was good. She liked that I was creative and didn't fit the corporate mold. I liked that she was driven and had her life together. But somewhere around year 2, things started shifting. She began commenting on my clothes when we went to her work events. Then it was my conversation topics. Then it was just general suggestions about how I should present myself around her colleagues. By year 3, I wasn't her boyfriend anymore. I was her accessory, the quirky, creative guy she could trot out at parties, but only if I stayed in my lane and didn't embarrass her. I noticed it gradually, like watching paint peel. She'd grip my arm a little too hard when I started telling a story. She'd change the subject when I mentioned my work. She'd introduce me with less and less enthusiasm until it became just, "This is my boyfriend," with no elaboration. I should have left. Looking back, the signs were flashing neon. But you know how it is when you're in it. You make excuses. You tell yourself it's just stress from her job. You convince yourself that love means compromise, even when the compromise is your entire personality. Last month, she told me about the annual board reception her firm was hosting. Huge deal, apparently. Partners, clients, some guest of honor who was a big name in corporate circles. She'd been stressed about it for weeks, planning her outfit, rehearsing talking points, strategizing who she needed to network with. 2 days before the event, we were having dinner at her place when she brought it up again. "I need you to understand how important Friday night is," she said, not looking up from her salad. "This could make or break my partnership track." "I get it," I said. "You've mentioned it." "I'm serious. The guest of honor is going to be there. She sits on the board of 3 Fortune 500 companies. Having her notice me could change everything." "Okay, what do you need from me?" She finally looked at me. "I need you to be on your best behavior. Dress appropriately. Don't talk about your work unless someone specifically asks. And please, please, don't try to be funny." "I'm not allowed to have a personality?" "That's not what I said." "It's what you meant." She sighed, that exasperated sound she'd been making more and more lately. "Can you just do this for me? One night. That's all I'm asking." I should have said no. Should have told her that if she was embarrassed by who I was, we had bigger problems. But I didn't. I just nodded and finished my dinner in silence. The night of the reception, I put on the suit she'd picked out. Charcoal gray, crisp white shirt, burgundy tie. I looked like every other guy who'd be at that event, which was probably the point. She inspected me when I came out of the bedroom, adjusting my collar and smoothing my lapels like I was a mannequin. "Remember what we talked about?" she said as we headed out. "Stay quiet and look pretty. Got it. Don't be like that." We took a car service to the hotel. The entire ride she was on her phone, texting colleagues and checking the guest list. She didn't say a word to me until we pulled up to the entrance. The reception was in a massive ballroom with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, chandeliers, ice sculptures, waiters circulating with champagne and hors d'oeuvres. Classical music played softly in the background. It was the kind of event where everyone looked important and acted like they'd rather be anywhere else. My girlfriend went into full networking mode the second we walked in. She worked the room with precision, stopping to chat with partners, laughing at unfunny jokes, touching people's arms in that calculated way that's supposed to seem genuine. I followed a few steps behind, smiling when appropriate, shaking hands when introduced, saying as little as possible. About 30 minutes in, she pulled me aside near the bar. Her smile vanished the second we were out of earshot. "Stay quiet tonight," she said, voice low and urgent. "These people matter." I haven't said anything. Good. Keep it that way. The guest of honor should be arriving soon, and I need to make the right impression. What do you want me to do? Just stand back, look supportive. Don't insert yourself into conversations. I felt something cold settle in my chest. You want me to be invisible? I want you to be aware of the situation. This isn't about you. It never is. Her eyes flashed. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. I'll stay quiet. She studied my face for a moment, like she was trying to determine if I was being sarcastic. Then she squeezed my arm and walked back into the crowd. I grabbed a whiskey from the bar and found a spot near the windows where I could watch without being noticed. The guest of honor arrived about 20 minutes later. The energy in the room shifted immediately. Conversations got quieter. People started gravitating toward the entrance. I saw my girlfriend position herself strategically near the door, adjusting her dress and practicing her smile. The woman who walked in was probably late 50s, wearing an elegant navy dress and carrying herself with the kind of confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. She had short silver hair and sharp eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. People approached her immediately, but she handled them with polite efficiency, shaking hands and moving forward without getting trapped in conversation. My girlfriend stepped into her path, extending her hand with that practiced smile. I saw her mouth moving, saw the woman nod politely. Then something strange happened. The woman's eyes shifted past my girlfriend, scanning the room, and locked directly onto me. She walked past my girlfriend, just walked right past her like she wasn't there. The crowd parted as she crossed the ballroom, and I realized she was coming straight toward me. I glanced behind me, thinking maybe she was looking at someone else, but there was just the window. She stopped about 3 feet away, studying my face with an intensity that made me uncomfortable. The people nearby had gone quiet, watching. "I know you," she said. "I don't think so," I managed. "We've never met." "No, but I know who you are." She took a step closer. "You're the graphic designer, the one who did the campaign for the environmental nonprofit last year." I blinked. "How did you—" "I'm on the board of that nonprofit. I saw your work. It was exceptional. Bold, authentic, nothing like the corporate nonsense we usually see." She smiled. "I've been trying to track you down for months. My assistant couldn't find any contact information beyond your old website. I've been meaning to update that," I said, still processing. "Well, consider yourself found." She pulled out her phone. "I want to hire you. I'm launching a new initiative, and I need someone who can create something genuine. Not another committee-approved focus group disaster. Are you available?" Yes, I'd need to hear more about the project, but yes." We exchanged information right there. She asked about my process, my influences, my availability. We talked for maybe 15 minutes, and I forgot about the room around us until I noticed my girlfriend standing a few feet away, her face pale. The guest of honor followed my gaze. "Oh, is this your girlfriend? The one who tried to intercept me at the door?" "Yes," I said. "She should be proud of you. You're very talented." She turned to my girlfriend. "You didn't mention your boyfriend was the designer behind the Meadowbrook campaign." My girlfriend's smile looked painful. "I didn't realize you'd be familiar with his work." "I make it my business to know talent when I see it." She turned back to me. "I'll have my assistant reach out next week to set up a proper meeting. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your evening." She moved on to greet the firm's senior partners. I stood there holding my whiskey, aware that everyone nearby had witnessed the entire exchange. My girlfriend's colleagues were staring. Some looked impressed. Others looked confused. My girlfriend looked furious. She grabbed my elbow and steered me toward the hallway outside the ballroom. The second we were alone, she dropped the smile. "What was that?" she hissed. She recognized my work. You made me look like an idiot. How? I didn't do anything. You upstaged me at my own firm's event. She approached me. What was I supposed to do? You could have directed the conversation back to me, mentioned what I do, made an introduction that mattered. She wanted to talk about my work. Your work? She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Your freelance graphic design? That's what was important tonight? Apparently to her, yes. Do you know how this looks? I've been trying to get her attention for weeks, and she walks past me to talk to my boyfriend about some charity project? That charity project took me 4 months. It was featured in 3 major publications. But you wouldn't know that because you've never asked about my work. That's not fair, isn't it? When's the last time you asked me about a project or showed any interest in what I do? You treat my career like it's a hobby that's slightly embarrassing. That's not true. You told me not to talk about my work tonight unless someone specifically asked. You dressed me like one of your colleagues. You literally told me to stay quiet because these people matter, like I don't. She opened her mouth, closed it. Her eyes were shining with anger or tears or both. I need to go back in there, she finally said, and I need you to not make this worse. Make what worse? This situation. People are going to have questions. Let them ask. That's easy for you to say. You don't have to face these people every day. You don't have to worry about your reputation. Neither do you. You're worried about your image. That's different. She stared at me for a long moment. I'm going back inside. Are you coming? No. No? I'm going home. You can stay and network. You can't just leave. Watch me. I walked toward the elevator. She called after me, but I didn't turn around. I took a car back to my apartment, changed into sweatpants, and sat on my couch in the dark, thinking about the last 4 years. Update 1. My girlfriend didn't come home that night. She texted around midnight saying she was staying at her place and we'd talk tomorrow. I didn't respond. The next morning, I woke up to an email from the guest of honor's assistant. They wanted to schedule a video call for Monday to discuss the project in detail. The scope was bigger than I'd expected, a full rebrand for a new foundation, plus ongoing creative direction, the kind of project that could change the trajectory of my career. I was still processing that when my girlfriend showed up at my apartment around 10 a.m. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept. She came in without being invited and sat on my couch. We need to talk, she said. Okay. Last night was a disaster. For you, maybe. She looked up sharply. What's that supposed to mean? I got offered a major project from someone who actually respects my work. Seems like a pretty good night from where I'm sitting. While humiliating me in front of my entire firm. I didn't humiliate you. You humiliated yourself by treating me like I was someone you needed to manage instead of someone you're supposed to support. I was trying to help you navigate that environment. I don't need help navigating. I need a girlfriend who's proud of me. I am proud of you. Are you? Because you've spent 4 years trying to minimize who I am, making me smaller so you can look bigger. She was quiet for a long moment. That's not what I was doing. Then what were you doing? I was trying to protect you. Those environments can be cutthroat. I didn't want you to get hurt. By doing what? Having a conversation? Being myself? The only one who's hurt me in this relationship is you. Her face crumpled. That's not fair. You know what's not fair? Being told to stay quiet because the people around you matter more than I do. Being dressed up like a doll because my actual style is embarrassing. Being treated like your success and my success can't coexist. I never said that. You didn't have to. You showed me every time you changed the subject when I talked about my work. Every time you introduced me as just your boyfriend with no elaboration. Every time you acted like my career was something to tolerate rather than celebrate. She was crying now, but I felt numb. What do you want me to say? I don't want you to say anything. I want you to leave. You're breaking up with me? I'm making space for both of us to figure out who we are without each other. That's the same thing. Then yes, I'm breaking up with you. She stood up, wiping her eyes. This is because of last night. Because she noticed you and not me. No. This is because of the last 4 years. Last night just made it impossible to ignore anymore. She left without another word. I heard her crying in the hallway, but I didn't go after her. I sat on my couch and felt relieved, which told me everything I needed to know. Update 2. The video call on Monday went better than I could have imagined. The guest of honor, I'll call her M, was direct and enthusiastic about the project. She wanted something bold, something that would cut through the noise of typical nonprofit marketing. She'd seen my work for the environmental charity and loved that I hadn't played it safe. I'm tired of committees and consensus, she said. I want a singular vision. Can you give me that? Yes, I said, without hesitation. We talked for over an hour about concepts, timelines, budgets. By the end of the call, I had a signed contract for more money than I'd made in the last 2 years combined. She also mentioned she'd be introducing me to other boards she sat on, if I was interested. I know talent when I see it, she said, and I know how to recognize when someone's been underestimated. Don't let anyone make you smaller than you are. I thought about my ex-girlfriend and nodded. Over the next few weeks, word spread about the project. Other organizations started reaching out. My inbox filled with opportunities I would have killed for a year ago. I updated my website, raised my rates, started being more selective about clients. For the first time in years, I felt like I was building something real. My ex texted occasionally, first with apologies, then with questions about whether we could talk, then with updates about her life that I didn't respond to. I finally blocked her number after she showed up at my apartment one evening, drunk and crying about how she'd made a mistake. I just wanted you to fit in, she said through the door. I thought I was helping. I don't need to fit in, I said. I needed you to believe in me. She left. I heard from a mutual friend later that she'd told people we broke up because I was too focused on my career. The irony wasn't lost on me. Update 3. 3 months after the reception, M invited me to lunch. She wanted to discuss expanding our working relationship, but she also wanted to tell me something. I knew exactly who you were when I walked into that room, she said. I'd already decided I wanted to hire you. But when I saw your girlfriend trying to position herself to intercept me, I got curious. Curious how? About what kind of person would date someone with your talent and then try to keep you in the background. So I walked straight to you instead, wanted to see how she'd react. I set down my fork. You did that on purpose? I did. And I'm not sorry. That woman was never going to appreciate you. She was too busy building herself up to notice she was tearing you down. You could have just hired me normally. I could have. But you needed to see what it looked like when someone valued your work. Sometimes we get so used to being diminished that we forget what respect feels like. She was right. I'd spent 4 years accepting scraps of support, convincing myself that my ex's tolerance was the same as pride. One conversation with someone who actually respected my work had shattered that illusion completely. Thank you, I said. Don't thank me. Just keep doing what you're doing. And next time someone tries to make you quiet, walk away sooner. Final update. It's been 8 months since that reception. The foundation rebrand launched last month to significant media attention. I've been interviewed by design publications, invited to speak at conferences, offered more work than I can reasonably take. My calendar is booked through next year, and I'm finally making the kind of money that matches my skill level. I ran into my ex a few weeks ago at a coffee shop. She looked good, put together as always. She congratulated me on the foundation project, said she'd seen the coverage. I always knew you were talented, she said. No, you didn't, I replied. You knew I was talented, but you didn't think it mattered. There's a difference. She didn't argue. We made awkward small talk for a few minutes, then went our separate ways. I heard from that same mutual friend that she'd made partner at her firm. Good for her. I hope she finds someone whose success doesn't threaten her own. As for me, I'm good. Better than good. I'm working on projects I care about, with people who value what I bring to the table. I'm dating someone new, a photographer who gets excited when I talk about typography and color theory. We celebrate each other's wins instead of competing for space. I learned something important from all this. You can't build a life with someone who needs you to be smaller. Real love doesn't ask you to stay quiet. It doesn't require you to dim your light so someone else can shine. It amplifies you. It celebrates you. It creates space for both people to grow. M was right. Sometimes you need someone to show you what respect looks like before you realize how long you've been living without it. I'm grateful for that reception, for that moment when someone walked across a room to acknowledge my work instead of expecting me to hide it. I'm grateful I finally learned to take up space,